In this video, I want to talk about how to find quality leads for your real estate business. Hey guys, if you haven't met me yet, my name is Emmanuel. I am the founder over at Square One Group. Really, our mission is to help you identify your expertise and then help you scale your real estate business using systems. That said, got nothing to sell you. I make these videos to give you some help to bring in some new business, so if and when you do decide to scale your real estate business, you'll keep us in mind because we would love to work with you. Okay, today I want to jam on with you about quality leads, specifically where to find them and how to get them. But first, I want to start with a very unpopular yet very astute observation. By the way, this is also probably going to be something that you don't want to hear. Look, I have spoken to thousands of agents at this point, and I can typically judge their experience as a real estate agent based on the response to this very specific question. What do you think you would need to add or fix inside of your business to get to your financial goals? And if the answer to this question is a variation of get qualified leads, that usually tells me a few things. Either A, you've built a business primarily on referrals and you still haven't quite yet figured out how to truly turn strangers into clients, or B, you're simply just a little too early inside of your experience in your real estate business and you still got quite a bit to learn. And that's simply because if you talk to anyone that's been in this business for years and have grown their business at scale, they will easily tell you that there's no really true such thing as qualified leads or being able to capture qualified leads on the fly. Look, some real talk here. This is not how the game is played. If your expectation is that you want to run some ads or maybe you want to work with some lead generation agency and they're promising you qualified leads, then I highly recommend that you temper that expectation right now. And the reason why, well, let me use an analogy to explain it. Do you remember that old story or that old saying when you're dating where you have to kiss a lot of frogs to find a prince? Well, the reality is the exact same thing applies to leads. If you talk to any old school traditional real estate agent that's been around for decades, they will tell you that to get to this point, they lived on dials and on their phones or maybe knocking on doors. And they can simply attest to this because this is how they built a successful, long real estate business. The same can be said for door knocking. They would walk miles a day, knock on a bunch of doors only to get those doors slammed on their face before they actually got someone that cared enough to listen. And well, the exact same thing applies for mailers, for example. Now let's fast forward to today. The thing you have to realize is that a version of that still exists. 50 door knocks, maybe that's analogous to 50 Instagram reels. 100 cold calls, well, maybe that's like 100 Facebook ad leads. 500 postcards, well, maybe that's 500 emails. Look, the point in this that I'm trying to articulate here is that sure, times have changed and technology has changed, but the strategy is still the same. Look, before Facebook or social media or the internet, real estate agents, they didn't go to some magic secret gathering that was filled with a ton of qualified leads that they could just simply handpick. No, they had to talk to a lot of people to find the next client. Now, granted, talking to a lot of people with the advent of social media and the internet has become vastly easier, but the reality is the same rules still apply. That hasn't changed. So the true way to understand this is the success of your real estate business is a measurement of quantity, not quality. Okay, so how can you use this information that I just provided to you? Well, it's a basic understanding of context. At the end of the day, there are really only two types of clients, the now client and the not now client. But here's the kicker. If we want to have the now or not now client, we have to start reframing our mindset and taking ownership of creating the qualified lead instead of magically wishing off of a few clicks of some marketing or an ad campaign that it's automatically going to appear on our doorstep. And it's because this is simply just how the game works. There is really no shortcut to it. By the way, if you found value in this video so far, please click that like button, subscribe button, bell icon, you know that good stuff. Now, how can you use this information so it can be of benefit to you now? What can you do now? Well, let me give you some very high-level action steps to really help you get started. Step one, it's to ask a better question. Instead of asking, how can I get qualified leads? The better question to be asking is, how can I bring in new leads daily? By the way, when I'm talking about new leads, I'm specifically referring to 20 to 30 leads a day. I'm not talking about 1 to 2. And if this sounds completely obnoxious to you, then think about the agents that were doing this decades ago when they were grinding 100 dials or door knocking on 50 doors. They did 100 or 50, not 1 or 2 a day. Remember, the same rules apply. Technology has changed, strategy is the same. By the way, if you're trying to figure out how to make this work, well, Our little secret sauce to this, it's actually Facebook ads. We found a way to do this at scale using Facebook ads. And the secret sauce to doing this is to find a way to get your cost per lead as cheap as possible. Because once you're able to get an affordable cost per lead, then scaling to 50 or 100 new leads, or I don't know, 20, 30 new leads a day actually becomes very, very manageable. All right, step 2. Now that you have these leads coming in regularly, what you're going to need to start focusing on is how to have a conversation. The key here though, it is not to pitch. No one wants to be pitched to, especially without permission. So don't pick up the phone and dial these leads with the intent to pitch. Instead, ask a question or find a way to ask a question that will actually start a conversation to build an actual relationship. Oh, and let me say this again. If you haven't gotten the message yet, let me say it a 4th time to you. Do not pitch. Step 3, that is to nurture the lead. Drip value on them on a daily basis. Understand who they are and actually show that you care. And when the time is right, that not now new client that you've essentially created and generated because you've had this conversation will turn into a now client. They will magically make themselves known and they will appear. By the way, we jam on a lot about quantity versus quality for real estate leads inside of our free Facebook group, leaving the link in the description below. And if you enjoyed this video, please check out this one here. Later.